might already be used to the figure 8 hank for coiling up small amounts, but what about long amounts? Let's say 50 to 100 feet. First, what you do is in between your middle finger and index finger, pinch the working end. Take it around your elbow and then up your arm, and then wrap it around a whole bunch of times. And once you get to about this point, you want to grab all the coils, take it off. You want to make sure this end is not with all your coils. Then what you want to do is fold your coil in half, and then the remainder of your rope, you just wrap it around the entire thing, the whole coil. And that is how you neatly coil 50 foot plus of rope. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tie our ridge line. And for that, we're first going to need to tie a bowline knot. Now what we want to do is we want to go on around the left side of the tree. Now what we do is we take the remainder of our paracord and make it go through the loop of the bowline knot, and now we have a second loop. Then we take a stick, make it go through that second loop, and we pull away from the tree. We're gonna make sure the stick goes up and down on a line like that, and while we're holding it down on the tree like that, what we're going to do is we're gonna yank and pull as hard as we can away on the left side of the stick. And then what we'll do is we'll go to the right side of it and pull on the right side and yank it. And then back to the left side, yank and pull, and now it'll stay there tight, and now we can work on our knot at the other tree. Now what you do is you take your other end and you make it go around the left side of the other tree, and you pull very tight. Then what you do is you take your working end and make it go over the stain end and under it, and then pull very tight. This is where you want to keep the most amount of tension on the ridge line. Now what we do is we make a U shape right here. Then we take our tag end and make it go through that U shape, and we pull it away from the tree. This one is the A-frame. Let's talk about the positives and negatives. The pros are that if you sit in the middle, then you can sit up definitely. And there's plenty of room for you and your gear. It's very stable in strong wind and rain, and you can fit multiple people in here. Although some negatives, there's no ground sheet, and you're still limited on headroom if you go on the sides. And yeah, there's a lot of room in this one, and it's pretty great. What use could some dryer lint have? Well, dryer lint could be very useful because it's flammable. Look at that. And it stays lit for a decent time too to get tender. Navigating with the compass isn't actually all that hard. As long as you know that the red arrow always points towards magnetic north, you can know what the magnetic directions are. The red needle is pointing this way, which means that north is somewhere around this way. It ain't exact because the magnetic north pole, so magnetic north is this way. So, to make the compass readings accurate, what we can do is we can turn this around, and this is for mostly base plate compasses. We could turn it around to where the little arrow box is containing the red arrow. So now, this is actually accurate. North is this way. Oops. Magnetic north is this way. Magnetic south is this way. East, west, you know it. A rule of thumb for navigation is never eat soggy waffles. And if you're all like, I already know that, then here's another tip. Keep metal things away from the compass, or else it'll mess up the navigation. See, here is this knife. It's messing up the navigation. See, it's going back. This is how to tie the bowline knot, one of the most vertical survival knots that there is. So first what you're going to do is you're going to make a plain loop just like that. Then what you do is you take the working end. This is what this part is. You go up that loop. Then what you're going to do is make your working end go around your standing end. this is what this part is here. And make it go around and make it go down that same exact loop that it went up through. Hold down on the knotted part, pull tight, and now you have yourself a bowline knot. Now this is a very strong knot, and this is mostly used to make a tarp shelter or to hang up stuff if people are in the woods. I don't think you want to be in a situation, a survival situation, where you wish you had one of these. Now I'm telling you, if you buy one of these yourself and build it up yourself, then I promise you that you will not regret it. And then kneel down, and then you want to take 5 quick drinks. I got water from that. And so now it should be ready to go, and you can drink as much as you want to drink. That was pretty refreshing. What's that?
It's just some trash in the creek.
Just trash. I drank out of that water.
It's probably fine.
It's gonna be a big pain to put this back in that small bag, isn't it? No, it isn't. And here's why. First, what you want to do to properly fold this thing is you want to grab the middle of both of the sides. Then you bring the sides together like this. Then try to make the sides evenly folded. Then what you want to do is you want to search for the very middle of the tarp. Some tarps have a tile point in the very middle. Okay, I found it. It's right here. Now what you want to do is you want to pull it out. Just like that. Lay it down again. And do the same thing. When it's small enough, what you want to do is you want to fold it down as much as possible. Not too bad. Now, you may still have a little bit of trouble doing it, even with this technique, and it probably will take some practice to master it, but after you've learned it and done it for a bit, works like a charm. If you're lost in the woods, don't just go, no. That's not how you do it. The way to get rescued with this thing is like that. If you do it 3 times, it's signaling for rescue. So if you just go and the whistle like that, or just blowing in it the entire time, that's not how you do it. You go like that. These are 10 backpacking items that you need for long hiking trails. And the first item is a good tarp. This is a Free Soldier camping tarp, and I have used it to make tarp shelters, and I'd like to do overnighters with it. And if you're going on a long, multiple day hike with multiple stops, a tarp you can never go wrong with. The next item on the list is rope. At least 50 feet, preferably 100 or more. There are many important knots and even ridge lights you could tie with rope. Paracord and bank line is a very important item. So this is a just in case you get lost scenario. You need a compass, a map with it preferably, but at least a compass will help you. Now, I personally like base plate compasses the best because they're easy to use. And if you don't know how to use a base plate compass, I have a 2-part series where I show you how to use a base plate compass. I'll link those videos in the description below. So if you're sleeping on the ground and you don't want to be cold, because the ground takes your body heat away 4 times faster than the air does. So what you want is a sleeping pad. This is a sleeping pad. I recently got this. This is my first sleeping pad, and it's an inflatable one. The kind of sleeping pad that you want depends on what area you're from, what the weather's like there, what the terrain's like. You don't want to accidentally pop one of these. That's why I would rather you make a tarp shelter with a ground sheet maybe, or with leaves below, so this doesn't get popped. But this makes camping a whole lot more comfortable, especially backpacking and hiking. So a sleeping pad is definitely one of the items that you want to consider bringing in your outdoor adventure. You may like hammock camping, and setting up hammocks ain't that hard. So that's why a hammock is always preferable, and you can always put the sleeping pad in there if there's enough room for that. This is a 2-person hammock. I think it can hold 500 pounds. I'm not too sure. I'm not 100% sure. You might have to do your own research. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. This is the Wise Owl Outfitters brand, and I've had this hammock since I was 13 years old. I got this on my 13th birthday about 5 years ago, and this is an amazing hammock. I haven't used this hammock as much as I would like to use it. I would definitely love to do more camping adventures with this hammock. If you need a quick way to relax, you can hang this up for a few minutes and then put it back in. It ain't that hard to set up. It comes with hammock straps, so you don't have to use this paracord to do any of that. A hammock is very important to have. And this is a 2-person hammock. Now, you don't want to encounter a predator in the woods. Bears specifically, right? Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. I better get out of here. Okay, let's be serious. Bear spray. You need bear spray, okay? You might be like, what about the Ozarks or something like that? There's hardly any bears in like the Everglades or the Ozarks anyway. Well, I'm gonna back to... Uh-oh. You need bear spray. There's bears in the Everglades and there's bears in the Ozarks. And believe it or not, it's September 2025. There were 2 black bear attacks. The first serious one since the Civil War, and possibly even in a century. Grizzly bears, usually you have to worry about the mother and her cubs. Black bears, in my opinion, it's more of the predatory instincts you have to worry about. But either way, I recommend you have bear spray. Pepper spray isn't gonna do anything to the bears but make them mad. And this isn't limited to just bears. You can use this on wolves and cougars too. Bear spray is an item that you have to have when hiking, okay? I don't want you to get hurt in the wilderness, but yes, bring mosquito spray too. And no, quick reminder, bear spray is not like mosquito spray where you spray it on yourself. If you do that, you're gonna want to go to the hospital, because that's not how bear spray works. The next one is a life straw, one of my favorite pieces of survival gear. This is for freshwater only. Don't even think about it. It will not filter out the salt. It's not like that. I've had this life straw for quite a while now. I heard that it filters out 100,000 gallons of bacteria or something like that. It filters a lot of water. It lasts for a long time. It does not filter out viruses though. You do got to keep that in mind. It filters out bacteria, but it does not filter out viruses. But you won't have to worry about that in North America as much, especially like in Alaska or in Canada. A live straw is always good to have, especially if you're on a budget. You can order these online for maybe $10 to $15. I recommend you bring a metal water container too, just in case. You want to bring a first aid kit because you don't want to end up like Wedham here. Okay, I may or may not have gotten that mad over a piece of rope, but that's not the point. That's not the point. A first aid kit, okay? Don't end up like Wedham. There's a whole bunch of things. There's bandages, tourniquets, all the things you need. There's even, I think there's an emergency blanket and whistle in here. You need a first aid kit with the necessities that you need. You want to prepare for situations, especially wounds like scrapes, scratches, and snake bites. If it's a venomous snake like a rattlesnake, I don't think there's that much you can do with the first aid kit. Now, if you're cooking dinner and you got water in your metal container and a mountain house, which you should have mountain houses, but you don't have a way to cook it, why didn't you bring a fire starter? You need a fire starter. A waterproof case of matches, a lighter, a few lighters, a ferro rod, magnesium bar. You need a fire starter, a reliable fire starter. I've created fire. Now let's just say that you walked a further distance than you planned to, and it's getting dark. You may need a flashlight or headlamp. That's why you need a flashlight or headlamp. If you have a headlamp, you don't have to carry it the whole time. You can wear it on your head. Some lighting source, and you should probably also have backup batteries too. Well, my eyes. Ah! Oh, I think I got my eyesight back now. Whoa, me. You're not supposed to be laying down. You're supposed to be filming a video. Okay, I'm sorry. You better edit that out. No. Picture this. You're on a single engine plane with the 40-year-old pilot getting gassy. Now, it ain't like normal gassy. It's like really, really gassy. Like, imagine the largest quantity of beans you've ever eaten and how gassy you were after. Now imagine that times 10. And it's not even his fault. The problem is he's actually about to have a heart attack. When he has a heart attack, you're cooked. No. You're not cooked. You're burnt. So now you're left with a dead pilot. You have no other choice but to crash the plane on an island in the middle of a lake. And the plane sinks down. So the emergency survival kit also sinks down with it. All you have is the hatchet that your mother gave you when you were 13 years old. First, build a shelter. I would take my hatchet and chop down little limbs and form it into a debris type shelter to keep me warm because it's windy. Oh, it's actually windy in real life right now. You're gonna be cold, you're gonna lose your temperature fast if you don't make a shelter by night. And after you built your shelter, your next problem is water. You can only survive 3 days without water. What are you gonna do? Well, you're in the middle of a lake and there's water available. It may not be the cleanest water, and you may have nothing to purify it or filter it, but what other option do you have?
I drink out of that water.
You have to drink that water. There's nothing else you can do, really. That's the only way you can survive. What about food? Now, you could run around with your axe all crazy, trying to get a deer or a bear or something. I'm gonna get you. So what you can do instead is make one of those fish cages and they swim into it and they won't go back out. I don't know why they swim into it in the first place, but that's how it works. And alongside that, you can also make a bushcraft fishing spear. But I will warn you, make sure that it's at least a foot taller than you are. Because if you trip, it gives you a higher chance of impaling yourself. And if you impale yourself, you'll bleed out. And that's not surviving. So make a spear at least a foot longer than you are, a fish trap, I'll pull up an image right here, and when the fish come in, you can jab it and you got food. The best thing you can do for fire is you could take a rock in the back side of the hatchet and kind of like slide it together, kind of like you would with flint and steel. You're becoming the new scene. Okay, that Jack Black impression was terrible. And if you get that fire started, you invented fire. You're now the new Steve. Okay, what about rainstorms that come? Well, what you can do is you can put moss, leaves, and other natural debris on the shelter, and it'll make it somewhat rain resistant. It won't make it absolutely 100% waterproof, but it'll definitely make it way better than it was without any moss or leaves on top of it. Now, you're getting hungry, losing a lot of weight, and it's been about 50 something days. Here's what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to swim to that plane that crashed in the lake as best you can, and use the hatchet to get inside the plane. You take the survival kit and bring it out. Now, it's been 54 days, and you explore the survival kit a little bit. You see all these mountain houses and MREs, and you notice something. There's an emergency signal device that'll reach out to the closest plane nearby. You're saved. You made it 54 days in the wilderness with just a hatchet. If I was going to be spending 100 days in the wilderness alone, and I could only bring 10 items, these are the 10 items I would bring. The first item is a knife. Bushcraft knife is one of the most important tools you can have. It can help you cut meat, cut rope, cut fishing line. It can make you bushcraft weapons like spears. A bushcraft knife is something you want to bring with you if you're going to be spending 100 days in the wilderness. The next item that I would bring with me if I was spending 100 days in the wilderness is an axe or a saw. Cutting wood is very, very important, specifically for building shelters and gathering firewood. You don't want to spend 100 days in the wilderness without a tool that can cut you firewood and build you shelter. Another item I would bring with me is a sleeping bag. Up in places like Alaska or Canada, it can get really, really cold in the winter, and you want to retain your body heat as much as you can during the night. So a sleeping bag is very important to have. The next item I would bring with me is a tarp, specifically for shelters. Now, later on into the 100 days, I would build a shelter out of wood too, and use the tarp as a roof to keep the rain out 100%. But to start out, for the first few days, you want to have shelter that will protect you from the elements as quick as possible, and then after the first 3 days or so, you can start actually building the shelter that you want to build. And even if you don't need this tarp after, you can still use it as a smoker. Next thing is 550 paracord. There's so many things you could do with 550 paracord. The insides of it can be used as emergency fire starter. You can use the inside of it for emergency fishing line. If you don't have any, this can help you construct shelters. You can use this to help you smoke meat. Paracord is one of the most important items you can bring with you if you're spending 100 days in the wilderness. The next item is fishing line and fishing hooks. I have fishing line and fishing hooks in here, and assuming that I wouldn't be able to take any artificial stuff with me, I can always dig up the ground for natural stuff like bugs or worms to catch the fish. Fishing line and fishing hooks is something I definitely want to bring because fish would be an abundant source of food, assuming that I'm going to be by a lake or a river. The next item I would bring, I don't have the item on me right now, but a bow and some arrows. There's deer, moose, ox, potentially Bigfoot. If I want another animal, big game animal, that has all the fats and proteins I need to survive, then I want to be able to hunt them down with a bow and some arrows. The next item I would want to bring with me in the wilderness, if I'm going to be spending 100 days there, is a metal water container or a bush pot. I want to be able to cook food and boil water. The human body can only go around 3 days without water, so I want to be able to procure water, and if I want to, cook food as a soup or a stew kind of. So a metal water container or a bush pot is something that I would really like to bring. Some say that fire is everything out in the wilderness. So having a fire starter like a ferro rod or magnesium bar is a very important thing to have. This is one of my ferro rods. I have about 3 ferro rods and a magnesium bar. You want to be able to cook food, keep predators away, stay warm, purify water. Now that I think about it, fire is very important. This is precious. I love you, my precious. The last item I would bring is a few pounds of emergency rations. In dire situations where food is low, you're gonna want to have emergency rations. but I will only use it in case of emergencies. If you eat it all too fast, then you won't have enough energy to catch other game later on. Axe or a saw, a sleeping bag, a tarp, 550 paracord, fishing line and fishing hooks, bow and some arrows, a metal water container or a bush pot, a fire starter, rations. Now let's put all this stuff back. Come on. There, go in there. Thank you for watching this video. If this video was valuable to you in any way, make sure to like this video and hit subscribe so you'll never miss another video on the Matthew's Bushcraft YouTube channel. I hope I can see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on the Matthew's Bushcraft YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. These are 5 survival skills that everyone should know. Water is important because most of your body parts needs water. Most people can only survive 3 days without it. Don't just drink water from anywhere, or for example, a cactus's water can be very poisonous, and drinking muddy water can cause nausea and diarrhea. Water from a stream or spring are better options. But even then, you'll want to filter it. I have a link in the description below of a video that teaches you about water filtration. What if you were in a desert? Then you can make something called a solar still. Basically what it is you dig a hole, you put a cup in it, put non-poisonous plants in it, and cover a trash bag or a very thin tarp. It only works if you put a teeny tiny bit of dirt or a small rock in the middle of the tarp or trash bag. Shelter is a high priority. It can protect you from bugs, snow, rain, and it can increase your will to survive. But you do need to be careful though, because you want to build a shelter that will help you in the elements that you're enduring already. For example, you want to build a shelter that will keep you warm in the winter instead of a desert type shelter. A body bag or extended 8-frame are those that are meant to keep you warm. Another very important survival skill to learn is fire starting. Having just a small fire can be a very beneficial thing. Even a small fire can keep you warm. Cook and preserve food, and even purify water, signal for rescue, and even defend yourself from predators. To start a fire, what you need to do is you need to grab tinder, which will catch on fire easily. You may have cotton balls or some old used dryer lint, and even cedar bark works very well. You strike it and then you add kindling, which keeps the fire going until you're ready for the big stuff, the fuel. Another very important one is food procurement. Your body will want food other than clovers and dandelions, which those are good for vegetation, some vitamins. But you will want meat too, to keep your muscles working. You can go and hunt some birds or deer with a club or snares. Or you can go fishing with a makeshift bushcraft spear and make a pull trap. A pull trap that has been used by some soldiers in the military. Once they swim in, they won't be able to get out. Why do they even swim in it in the first place? I have no idea. And then you can grab yourself an easy and nutritious meal. Another important survival skill you need to learn is prepping. Being prepared for a survival situation is crucial, and having a survival kit or bug out bag is a good idea. What I have here is my survival backpack.
Backpack, backpack. On the backpack, loaded up with things and knickknacks too.
if you want to be in a situation, a survival situation,
What the heck would you do in a situation like that?
where you wish you had one of these. Now I'm telling you, if you buy one of these yourself and build it up yourself, then I promise you that you will not regret it. What I have here is my survival backpack. When I put this back on, I'd say it's about maybe 30 pounds. I can carry it very easily. I can go for at least 2 hours in this thing. It isn't really heavy at all. And today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the stuff I built into it out and give you kind of an idea of what you could put in it and save your money on more lasting, longer gear than the ones that you're gonna get off of the already built-in ones on Amazon. They may look cool, but I promise you that you will want to build one yourself. So first thing I'm gonna talk about is my tarp, and it's 10 foot by 10 foot. What I can do with this is I can use it to collect rainwater, use it most importantly for shelters, using the stuff I have in here. I have carabiners. There's plenty more where that came from. I have about 4 of these coils of paracord in there, and a bag with 4 tent stakes in them. Now let's get to the fire starting kit I have in here. Fire is very important for keeping you warm, for fending off predators from your camp, and boiling water and cooking food. In this Ziploc bag, I have lint, pencil shavings, paper, duct tape, and that's about it. And we also have these stormproof matches. I have Zippo and UCO. But yeah, if you like drop it in the snow or drop it in a puddle of water, then you can just blow on them a bit or shake them up a bit and they'll come right back. So that's very good. Magnesium bar. And I have a ferro rod. And the back of it has a whistle. And I have 2 of these necklaces that another YouTuber made me. The YouTuber's Papa Pepper. I'll put a link in the description below of his channel. Go and check him out. He's an awesome guy. So what he did is he took a very sharp fish gill, tied it to some yellow rope, and now you can take this off and use it as a spear tip. I have 2. Next we go into the side pouches. In the first side pouch we have 2 mini LED flashlights, a basic Energizer headlamp. Okay, now we need to go to the next pouch, which has navigation and signaling. I have a compass, a baseplate compass. I did a video on this once. Teach you about navigation and how to use a compass without a map. And it also has a signaling mirror. This I made myself. It's an emergency bracelet. Usually these would come with ferro rods, but it doesn't have a ferro rod on it. But it does have a whistle and emergency paracord on it. Like, I can put this on me and I can whistle. There we go. What I did to make this is I tied the Cobra hitch a bunch of times. And that's how you make them. And I can untie all these knots and use it for emergency paracord. Now, let's go to the middle compartment. I have weatherproof socks, these winter gloves, a little extra paracord, the live straw. I actually used it like at least 20 times and I have got sick from it. I've got a tin can. Who knows, it could be used for a tiny pot. You can make fish hooks out of it. A UCO emergency utensil. It has a little butter knife edge here, a fork, and a spoon. And in this Ziploc bag, I have a face mask, water container. It can carry hot water and freezing water. I have an emergency blanket. I have a tinfoil ball. It can convert into a dish. I whittled this stick and I made it into a straw. There's holes at both ends. There's a little tunnel there and I can drink through it. I have this paracord. This is my main source of paracord here. Coiled up. This is my main ridgeline for my tarp shelters I use. And there's so many advantages to this. And I have some trash bags. These can be used for emergency ground cover and emergency water collectment. You can make a solar still out of these. An underground solar still, to be exact. Now, let's get real. The main stuff. The big stuff. I have a Swiss Army jacket. It's rainproof. A survival kit within a big survival kit. This has fire starters, navigation, a tiny first aid kit, and another emergency blanket. This has lasted me a long time. I've never had to use this yet though, but when I need it, it's there. I have a stainless steel water bottle with some carabiners attached to it. Another survival bracelet. And a little button compass. And this you can put right over a fire. You can boil water with it. It's just so nice to have one of these. I have a 2 basics first aid kit. It has a whole bunch of medical stuff in here. I've got another button compass, safety pins, another emergency blanket. I have like 3 emergency blankets in total. Ice pack, gauze, alcohol pads, sting relief, bandages. I have a tackle box or a fishing kit for my food. I have some lures in here, some hooks in here, some bobbers in here, and some worms in here. Fake worms. And last but not least, a shovel that folds up. Let's get some stuff up. This is actually one of the things that helped me build an igloo shelter. I posted a video on. I'll put a link in the description below of that. This is what I have in my backpack so far. What would you add or take away? If you have any questions or ideas, please tell me them in the comments below. These are 8 survival knots that you need to know how to tie right now. Let's get into it. This is how you tie a basic slip knot. You first want to make a loop, like I did here. And you want to fold it like this. And now it kind of looks like a pretzel. You take this exact part of the pretzel shape while pulling on your working end. And if you pull on your standing end now, it slips. This is why it's called a slip knot. To tie the figure 8 slip knot, what you want to do is you want to make a loop. Take your working end, make it go behind the standing end, and you'll see its shape as an 8. Then you want to turn your working end into a noose and very carefully poke it through the top hole of the 8. Very carefully pull against the knotted part and while pulling on the standing end. And there you have it. A figure 8 slip knot. It serves the main purpose of slipping. To tie the clove hitch, what you want to do is you want to take your working and make it go around the thing you're tying it to. Make it go around again, but this time cross it over the part where you first wrapped it around to make crossing lines. Come back around again. When you came back around, make it go under the top of the crossing lines. Pull tight on both ends. You got yourself a clove hitch. Now this knot is very good for practicing ridge lines if you don't know any of the fancy ridge line knots. The bad news is that it can slip easy if you pull on it too tight. The good news is that you can fix that by tying a stopper knot. To tie the bull hitch, what you want to do is you want to take your working end, make it go over whatever you're tying it to, hold your standing end with your left hand, and wrap your working end around it. Then what you want to do is you want to make your working end go under and over whatever you're tying it to, and then you want to poke it through where your index finger is. And then you want to pull tight. And you got yourself a bull hitch. You can tell if it's a bull hitch if these two lines right here are crossing. If they are crossing, then you've done it right. If not, keep practicing. This is how to tie the common bowline knot, one of the most critical survival knots that there is. So first what you're going to do is you're going to make a plain loop just like that. Then what you do is you take the working end, this is what this part is, make it go up that loop. Then what you're going to do is make your working end go around your standing end. This is what this part is here. And make it go around and make it go down that same exact loop that I went up through. Hold down on the knotted part, pull tight, and now you have yourself a bowline knot. Now this is a very strong knot, and this is mostly used to make a tarp shelter or to hang up stuff if people are in the woods. That's how to tie the sheet bend. Now you're going to need 2 ropes for this because the sheet bend is a knot where you connect 2 ropes together. First what you want to do is you want to take your left rope and make into an upside down U shape just like this. Turn it sideways, and then you take your right end and act it as your working end. Make it go through the upside down U shape like that. Then go over it and under it. The same exact rope go under itself when it's coming back up. Pull tight on both ends. Got yourself a sheet bend. Now if you're making a ridge line and you're running out of rope but you have an extra rope, this is the way to go. This is how you tie the figure of 8 with loop. So what you do with your rope is you take one end of it, leave a little bit of the end so you can tie it, and then make an upside down U shape like this. And now we can pretend that this part of the upside down U shape is our working end. We take it, make a loop, make it go around the standing end. Now you can see that it's a figure of 8 and through the top loop again, and you pull tight, and you basically tie it like a classic figure of 8 knot. People who work with rope use this knot. It's very, very tight, and also it could be used for shelters. Knot. The loop part of the end, make it go over the ridge line. Then what you do is you take the knot apart, make it go through the looped part, take it and make it go through again, and then make it go through one more time. And now you just pull down, make sure all these are lined up, and now it should look like a fist bump. What it's for is when you hold it down with your fingers it should move around very easily. But when you pull it down with tension, it's a bit harder to move it. And sometimes not even at all. What we do is we tie or clip this to the tie-up points of the tarp shelter. This will make your shelter tight. The rain won't get into the shelter and it'll just go right off. Which one of these knots was your favorite?
I like this one the best. Comment down below which one was your favorite.
Wet 'em? Now the headlamp is on the milk jug. When you turn it the other way around, it makes a DIY lantern. Easy to make. Well, dry lint can be very useful because it's flammable. Catches easy. Look at that. And it stays lit for a decent time too.
You don't want to end up like this guy. Oh, what have I done? Ah!
First, what you do is in between your middle finger and index finger, pinch the working end, one of the working ends, and then take it around your elbow and then up your arm, just like that, and then wrap it around a whole bunch of times. And once you get to about this point, or you want to make sure this end is not with all your coils, then what we want to do is fold your coil in half. The remaining of your rope, you wrap it around the entire thing. And that is how you neatly coil 50 foot plus of rope. Oh, I'm done tarp camping. It's gonna be a big pain to put this back in that small bag, isn't it? No, it isn't. And here's why. First, what you want to do to properly fold this thing is you want to grab the middle of both of the sides. Then you bring the sides together like this. Then try to make the sides evenly folded. Then what you want to do is you want to search for the very middle of the tarp. Some tarps have a tie point in the very middle. Okay, I found it. It's right here. Now what you want to do is you want to pull it out. Just like that. Lay it down again. And do the same thing. When it's small enough, what you want to do is you want to fold it down as much as possible. Not too bad. Now, you may still have a little bit of trouble doing it, even with this technique, and it probably will take some practice to master it, but after you've learned it and done it for a bit, works like a charm. To tie the clove hitch, what you want to do is you want to take your working and make it go around the thing you're tying it to. Make it go around again, but this time cross it over the part where you first wrapped it around to make crossing lines. Come back around again. When you came back around, make it go under top of the crossing lines. Pull tight on both ends. You got yourself a clove hitch. Now this knot is very good for practicing ridge lines if you don't know any of the fancy ridgeline knots. The bad news is that it can slip easy if you pull on it too tight. The good news is that you can fix that by tying a stopper knot. Is this $50 camping toolkit from Costco worth it? Let's find out. If you take a look at this, you can see that there's a hatchet, a whistle and flint, a shovel, and a knife. So this is from Costco. I don't know how good of quality Costco's camping stuff is, but in this video we're gonna find out. It is the SOG brand, and they call it the Ultimate Camping Kit. We'll see about that. Wait, why is there a tear here? That doesn't seem right. I wonder what the back looks like. What is this? They drew all over it. What is this?
Those YouTube trolls!
I'm going to unbox this and see what it looks like. You know what? I'm just gonna make this process faster. And here is what it looks like out of the box. Man, this was so hard. It was so hard to get out. I poked my pinky finger. The blade of the hatchet is 6.3 inches, and the overall length is 12.25 inches. The blade of the knife is 4 inches. The overall length of the shovel is 18.25 inches. Of course, a flint and a whistle here. And there is an extra box right here. It's the sheath for the axe. So here is what everything looks like in its seeds or in its place. Here is the shovel. Here is the axe and the knife. And here is the flint.
Flint and steel.
It comes with a glass breaker, so if you have to, you can like jab at a window if you're stuck in a car. Another thing is a whistle at the end. Then when you open this, here's the ferro rod inside. That I find interesting is when you take the glass breaker off, inside here, there is fuzzy little tender in there. And here we got their foldable shovel, and has a serrated edge, so you can take down little twigs with it. I think it'll be efficient for taking down twigs for firewood. Let's see how it does with digging. I don't want to dig down too far because I don't want to ruin this campsite, but yeah, I think it works pretty good. So here's the knife. I like the feel of it, and I like the sheath. I like the handle, and the blade is amazingly sharp. That looks amazing. I honestly didn't think it would look this great, but I want to test it out. So I'm gonna get into the stick and see how it works out. Look at that. A piece of paper. I've used this piece of paper already, so let's see how it cuts through. Fantastic. I honestly didn't think that the knife would be this good. And finally, we have the hatchet. The hatchet is easy to put in and out. Axes are very important. Ever read Hatchet before? It's a very good book. I recommend it. I'll link that book in the description below. It's a very amazing book. So let's test this on twigs. I'm not ready to chop firewood with this exactly yet. I think it's strong enough for that, but I'm not ready for that yet. So axe with digging tool and rope cutter. Pretty amazing. Axe, fire starter, knife, and foldable shovel. What do I think about this? Honestly, I think it's an amazing choice for beginners. For people who are doing like chopping firewood thing, I think you'll want a longer axe with a wooden handle with the grains running parallel with the handle. But for a beginner or just basic firewood splitting, I think that it's a good option. The knife is amazing. I think it's one of the best knives I've ever gotten so far. Like I expected the knife to be good, but I didn't expect it to be this good. Like, it's crazy how good it is. The shovel, I've had better, but it's pretty good. And the fire starter, pretty good, especially for beginners. The one thing I was surprised with that it actually had tinder up here. One thing I wish it would have had was, like, if you could unscrew this here. Oh wait, can you? Oh, actually you can. So you could take the whistle part off and you can use it to strike the ferro rod. So for the $50 Costco Ultimate Camping Kit, would I say that it's worth the money? Yes, especially for beginners. Experts that already have all this gear, maybe as a backup. But for like professional work, I don't know. I'm going to have to test it out and do more adventures with these tools, but right now I think it's pretty good. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope I can see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on the Matthew's Bushcraft YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.